Great day, attractive thinker. Dr. Toni Hatton here, your vision and mindset expert at the Attractive Thinker Guru. Have you ever considered why write your book anyway? You may have a book idea, several book ideas, and you get stuck in the process. You start and stop, or you believe it and you don't believe it. You may be halfway through. You may have even completed your book. I did that. I wrote my entire book and didn't have the courage to further the process and take the next step and really get it out there. So I took the manuscript, laid it on the bottom of my night table near my bed, and it stayed there for a while. Until one of my friends approached me. They were like, "So you tripping? You just going to write the book and leave it on the floor?" Think about that, attractive thinker. You may be in the book writing process, or, feel like, well, who wants to hear what I have to say anyway? Or because I had somebody recently say that to me. I was like, when are you going to write your book? They was like, trust me, nobody want to hear what I have to say. But everybody has a book in them and volumes in them. Everybody. Because you got here some kind of way, right? You took a path, you were on a journey, and anytime we're on a journey, we learn lessons along the way. So what are you going to do with all of those lessons that you learned? They weren't just for you. Think about that. They weren't just going to benefit you. Think about the time that you experienced something fantastic and amazing. You couldn't wait to tell somebody about it. You didn't just keep it to yourself. So think about your journey in that same sense. Whether it was fantastic and amazing or not, there were some lessons and some jewels that you gathered along the way that can benefit yourself, number one. That's the first person that's going to benefit when you start pulling this thing apart, your journey, putting the pieces together, really dissecting and sitting down and paying attention to your life. You're going to be benefited first. Then once you put it together and package it right, the people around the world that are sent to hear your message are going to benefit from it as well. I was the first person who benefited from my book. You know why? Because as I went through the editing process, I began to really, I don't know, it was like 3D, or I was really like in my story, because you start reliving the journey when you're writing about it. And I was like, wow, this really happened. Sometimes you can come out of your process and your journey and be so far removed from it that there's a disconnect. You can't relate. That's why it's important to pay attention to your journey while you're in it and journal your journey while you're in it, because those feelings that come up and those experiences that come up, those aha moments and those opportunities and those pleasant surprises, things you never even pondered, when they come up, you get to write them down in real life, with all the alive feeling and emotion that goes along with it, right? The richness of it, the essence of it. And every time you read it, you get to feel and experience that all over again. But when you wait, you got to think about it. Did I go through that? Or did I make a left or a right? Or who was that knocked on my door? Who was that called me? Or what was that defining moment? What really turned or changed this around? You got to try and piece it together and figure it out. And it loses its effect and impact. Okay? So when you're thinking about moving forward and writing your story, like, why write my story? Because people around the world need to hear it. You weren't the first person to experience that, and you won't be the last. When I was in my defining moment, I was searching, because I'm a reader. There were no books that were in my space, and I searched for a long time. There were no books that I had access to that were actually going through, that actually explained or told the story about what I was going through. So my one of my books that I wrote, one of the first ones, I wrote it in an attempt to give back what wasn't given to me. So with you holding on to your book, you're not giving it to me. You're withholding it from me. Think about that, attractive thinker. Sometimes we don't think about these things because we're so focused on ourselves. All we're thinking about is us. But what about the people who are where you've been, who are in what you came out of already? They need what you have to say. You know the way out. You know the path. You know what you had to do to make it through that journey. Show them. Because you can expedite their process and cut their process in half, if not shorter, just by telling them your story. Okay? So This is what I want you to do, because a lot of times when it comes down to telling our story, we get stuck. We're all over the place. We don't know how to put the parts and pieces together. We don't have the courage. We get discouraged. I want to offer you a complimentary Get Unstuck coaching session. Write this website down: www.theattractivethinker.com. Setmore, SETMORE.com. That takes you straight to my calendar, where you can book a session that's convenient for you, and we can start mapping this out and bringing some clarity in this area, so you can get rid of all of that resistance and get into flow and ease. Dr. Toni Hatton here, your vision and mindset expert, here to support you in creating, living, and leaving a legacy that speaks when you no longer can. I'll talk to you soon.